You've probably heard that eating fish is one of the healthiest things you can do, especially after 60. But what if I told you that some of the fish you're eating could actually be speeding up aging, damaging your heart, and even affecting your brain? Most people believe that fish automatically equals health. Doctors recommend it, media headlines praise it, and supermarkets sell it as a miracle food. But here's the truth Peter Attia and other longevity experts emphasize. Not all fish are created equal. Some species are incredibly beneficial, packed with omega-3s, vitamins, and clean protein. But others, the ones you might be eating every week, are loaded with hidden toxins, mercury, antibiotics, and inflammatory compounds that slowly wear down your body's systems. And here's the scary part. These aren't rare, exotic fish. They're some of the most common and affordable options people buy every day, thinking they're making a healthy choice. Studies published in journals like The Lancet and the Journal of Gerontology have shown that chronic exposure to contaminated seafood can increase inflammation, reduce cognitive performance, and accelerate cellular aging, especially in adults over 60, whose bodies are already more sensitive to oxidative stress. But don't worry, this video isn't about fear, it's about clarity. Because once you understand which fish to avoid and which ones to embrace, you can transform your meals into powerful tools for longevity, protecting your heart, your brain, and even your independence as you age. So in the next few minutes, we'll reveal the 4 worst fish you should never touch after 60, and the 4 best that science says can help you stay strong, sharp, and full of life. Let's start with the ones you should avoid, because knowing what to remove is the first step to building a healthier future. Let's start with the truth that surprises most people. Not all fish are healthy. In fact, some of the most popular fish in supermarkets today are the ones experts like Peter Attia and nutrition researchers warn us to avoid, especially if you're over 60. Why? Because your body at this stage of life is more sensitive to inflammation, toxins, and heavy metals that younger people might tolerate more easily. Your liver and kidneys don't process contaminants as efficiently, and your nervous system becomes more vulnerable to oxidative stress. So what are the worst offenders? Let's go one by one. Number 1. Imported catfish. This might shock you because catfish is affordable, mild in flavor, and easy to find. But imported catfish, especially from Asia, is often raised in overcrowded ponds, treated with antibiotics and chemical disinfectants to prevent disease. Tests from the FDA and the Environmental Working Group have found residues of banned substances like malachite green, a potential carcinogen, in imported catfish samples. Think of your body like a filter. Over time, those small traces of toxins don't just disappear, they build up. And when your detox systems slow down with age, that buildup can trigger inflammation, fatigue, and even joint pain. If you love catfish, look for U.S. farm-raised instead. American farms follow stricter standards and cleaner water quality. Number 2. Tuna, especially albacore and big-eye. Tuna is one of the most commonly eaten fish in the world, and one of the most misleading. It's high in protein, yes, but it's also one of the highest in mercury. A study published in Environmental Health Perspectives found that adults who ate tuna frequently had significantly higher mercury levels, which can impair memory, focus, and balance, all critical functions for older adults. You might not feel it right away, but mercury builds up in the nervous system like rust on a machine. Over time, it slows your reaction speed, affects mood, and even disrupts heart rhythm. The solution? Switch to light tuna, or, better yet, sardines and salmon, which are much lower in mercury, but rich in the same omega-3 benefits. Number 3. King mackerel. This one sounds regal, but it's actually one of the most dangerous choices for older adults. King mackerel is a large predatory fish, and that means it accumulates toxins from every smaller fish it eats. According to the EPA, it ranks among the highest for mercury contamination of any commonly eaten species. For people over 60, mercury exposure doesn't just threaten memory and balance, It can also increase oxidative stress in the cardiovascular system, raising the risk of heart disease. The better alternative? Atlantic mackerel, a smaller, cleaner fish rich in omega-3s without the heavy metals. Number 4. Farmed tilapia. This is perhaps the most surprising one, because tilapia has been marketed as the healthy choice for decades. But the truth is, farmed tilapia, especially from China, often contains more omega-6 fatty acids than omega-3s, which flips the balance of fats in your body and fuels inflammation instead of reducing it. Research from Wake Forest University found that eating farmed tilapia can increase inflammatory markers in the body almost as much as eating bacon or processed meats. Think about that for a second, a fish that promotes inflammation instead of fighting it. And at an age when inflammation is one of the main drivers of chronic disease, that's the opposite of what your body needs. Now, to be clear, the goal isn't to make you fear seafood, it's to help you make smarter choices. Because for every unhealthy option, there's a clean, nutrient-rich alternative that supports your heart, your brain, and your muscles. And in the next section, we'll start flipping the script, from danger to healing, as we look at the 4 fish that do the exact opposite. The ones that science says can actually help you age stronger, sharper, and longer. Now, let's take a deep breath, because the truth is, not all fish are villains. In fact, some of the best sources of longevity nutrition come straight from the ocean. While certain species can harm your health with toxins and inflammation, others do the exact opposite. They protect your heart, sharpen your brain, and help your muscles stay strong long after 60. The key is knowing which ones belong on your plate and which ones should stay in the sea. Scientists from Harvard, Stanford, and the American Heart Association all agree. When you choose the right kinds of fish, clean, wild, and rich in omega-3s, you can reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and even slow the biological aging process. So now, let's shift from danger to healing and reveal the 4 fish that not only support your longevity, but can help you feel stronger, clearer, and more alive with every meal. Now we move from warning to action. We've seen the fish that can hurt you: high mercury, inflammatory fats, and contaminated farms. But it's equally important to know the fish that do the opposite, the fish that heal, protect, and literally help your body age better. Peter Attia and many leading longevity researchers point to a handful of species that repeatedly show up in the data as protective. They reduce inflammation, they supply high-quality protein, they deliver EPA and DHA, the omega-3s that protect your heart, your brain, and your muscles, and they tend to be low in heavy metals when sourced correctly. I'm going to walk you through 4 of those fishes, one by one. For each, I'll explain why it matters, how it works inside the body in simple terms, and how to choose and prepare it so you actually get the benefits without the risks. Let's begin with a straightforward, often underrated option: Pacific cod. Pacific cod is a lean, white fish, clean, mild, and easy on the stomach. For older adults, that matters. When you're trying to preserve muscle mass, you don't always need a high-fat fish. You need reliable, easily digested protein. Cod delivers that. It gives you the essential amino acids your body needs for repair, and it does so with very low levels of contaminants when it's wild-caught from reputable fisheries. Why is that important? Because after 60, digestion can slow. Meals that once sat fine may feel heavy. A lean fish like cod is gentle and effective. It gets absorbed, it provides the building blocks for muscle, and it doesn't carry the inflammatory load that some farmed fish do. Imagine 2 plates. One has greasy fried items and processed sides, the other has a simple fillet of baked Pacific cod, lemon, and steamed greens. The first leaves you feeling sluggish. The second leaves you satisfied, light, and nourished. Over weeks and months, choosing the second plate repeatedly is how you maintain muscle quality, energy, and metabolic health. Preparation is simple: bake, steam, or gently sauté with olive oil and herbs. Avoid deep frying. And when buying, opt for wild-caught Pacific cod labeled from sustainable fisheries. That's the key to minimizing contaminants. Now let's talk about a small fish with a big reputation: sardines. If I had to pick a single fish to recommend to someone over 60, sardines would be near the top of the list. Why? Because they are a concentrated source of EPA and DHA, those omega-3 fatty acids strongly linked to reduced cardiovascular risk, better mood regulation, and preserved brain volume. Sardines are also commonly eaten with their bones, which makes them a practical source of dietary calcium, helpful for bone health as osteoporosis risk rises with age. There's another advantage that most people don't think about: bioavailability. Nutrients in whole foods are often easier for the body to use. A sardine delivers protein, omega-3, vitamin D, calcium, and some B vitamins in one compact package. That's efficiency, that's convenience, that's low-friction nutrition for someone who wants the biggest return on the simplest choice. A mini story. I once spoke with a woman in her late 60s who'd struggled with morning stiffness and a creeping sense of weakness. She started adding a tin of sardines to her week, 2 or 3 times, and over months, she reported less joint pain, steadier mood, and easier movement when she climbed stairs. That's anecdote, yes, but it mirrors what the data show. Regular intake of oily fish is associated with lower inflammatory markers and better functional outcomes in older adults. How to use them? Choose sardines packed in water or olive oil, not heavy sauces. Use them on toast, in salads, blended into spreads, or simply warmed with lemon and herbs. If the texture is unfamiliar, start with smaller portions and pair them with flavors you like: garlic, parsley, a squeeze of citrus. Over time, they become a quick, reliable dinner or snack that stacks multiple benefits in one bite. Next, the superstar everyone mentions for good reason: wild Alaskan salmon. Salmon is the textbook example of what a longevity fish looks like. Rich in EPA and DHA, loaded with vitamin D in the flesh, and packed with high-quality protein, salmon offers a combination of nutrients that support cardiovascular health, cognitive resilience, and muscle maintenance. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon is also generally lower in contaminants compared to many farmed alternatives, and its sustainable fisheries are monitored to keep the supply clean. The biological story is straightforward. DHA concentrates in brain tissue and supports membrane fluidity, which helps neurons communicate efficiently. EPA modulates inflammation systemically, helping protect arteries and muscle tissue from chronic low-grade inflammation that speeds aging. Vitamin D in salmon supports bone strength, immune function, and muscle metabolism. Together, these nutrients form a powerful triad. Consider this scenario: a man in his 70s who had mild memory complaints began eating salmon twice a week and also improved his sleep and movement. Over a year, his doctor noted improved lipid markers and a better inflammatory profile. While nutrition is not a cure-all, repeated patterns like this, better diet, more movement, less inflammation, produce measurable improvements in health data. Salmon often appears at the center of those patterns. How to prepare it? Grilling, baking, or gentle pan-searing preserve the omega-3s. Avoid heavily charred or fried preparations that add oxidized fats. Pair with greens and a source of fiber. And when buying, prefer wild Alaskan or certified sustainable labels. If cost is a concern, frozen wild salmon is a reliable alternative. It retains nutrients well and is often more affordable. Finally, let's speak about rainbow trout, a fish that combines many of the benefits we've discussed but with an accessibility and gentleness that older adults appreciate. Rainbow trout, particularly trout raised in clean, regulated waters, is high in omega-3, rich in B vitamins, and very easy to digest. It's often a safer choice compared to certain farmed fish because responsible trout farms manage feed and water quality carefully. Trout is versatile. Poached, baked, grilled, or pan-seared, it adapts to simple seasonings and pairs well with vegetables, grains, or leafy salads. For someone who struggles with appetite, a nicely prepared trout can be both appealing and highly nourishing. For those with dental or swallowing challenges, flaked trout mixed into mashed potatoes or a soft grain bowl is a practical option to pack in protein and essential fats without chewing strain. From a safety perspective, rainbow trout usually tests low for mercury and other bioaccumulative toxins compared to larger predatory species. That makes it a reliable weekly choice for older adults seeking the benefits of oily fish without the risk of heavy metal exposure. Before we move on, I want to be crystal clear about a few practical rules that make all this protective nutrition possible. First, source matters. Wild-caught, sustainably managed fisheries and responsibly raised local farms are almost always safer than cheap imported or poorly regulated options. Labels, certifications, and knowing your retailer can make a huge difference. Second, variety matters. Don't depend on a single species. Rotate your fish choices so you capture a broad nutrient profile and reduce the risk of accumulating any single contaminant. Sardines, salmon, cod, and trout in rotation give you resilience. Third, preparation matters. Grilling, baking, steaming, or gentle pan-searing preserve nutrients and avoid adding inflammatory cooked oils or excessive salt. Avoid frequent deep frying or heavily processed seafood dishes. Fourth, portion and frequency matter. For most older adults, 2 to 3 portions of these protective fishes per week is a realistic and evidence-backed target. That frequency supports cardiovascular and brain health without creating undue exposure risks. And finally, context matters. Fish are one pillar of a healthy diet. Pair them with vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and olive oil, and you're building a dietary pattern that reduces inflammation and supports muscle, brain, and metabolic health. To close this section, choosing the right fish is a simple but profound act of self-care. When you pick Pacific cod for gentle protein, sardines for concentrated omega-3 and calcium, wild Alaskan salmon for powerful DHA and vitamin D, and rainbow trout for reliable, low-toxin nourishment, you're not just eating. You're investing in decades of mobility, cognition, and independence. In the next part, we'll bring all these pieces together with practical shopping tips, quick recipes, and a weekly plan you can actually follow. Because knowledge only becomes power when it's turned into habit. If there's one truth that becomes clearer with age, it's this: what you eat today decides how strong, clear, and capable you'll feel tomorrow. We often talk about diet as if it's just about weight or numbers, cholesterol, calories, grams of fat. But Peter Attia and longevity researchers remind us that food is information. Every bite tells your body what to do, to heal or to inflame, to build or to break down, to protect or to slowly wear out. And the difference between decline and strength is rarely one big decision. It's a collection of small ones, repeated every single day. Think about the last time you felt real energy, not the jittery kind from caffeine, but steady, calm strength. That feeling comes when your body is aligned with what it needs: clean protein, anti-inflammatory fats, and nutrients that work with you, not against you. Fish can be one of the most powerful allies in that process, or one of the quietest enemies. Choosing the right fish isn't just about avoiding toxins, it's about reclaiming control over your health. When you reach for wild salmon instead of farmed tilapia, when you pick sardines instead of tuna, you're making a small act of rebellion against the aging process itself. You're saying, I'm not here to survive, I'm here to thrive, and this matters. Because what's really at stake isn't just your cholesterol or your diet score, it's your freedom. The ability to move without pain, to wake up clear-headed, to walk, climb stairs, travel, laugh, and live without fear of decline. That freedom is built, meal by meal, choice by choice. So here's your challenge. Not a diet, not a rule, just a simple practice. For the next 2 weeks, replace one meal each week with one of the longevity fish we talked about. Notice how you feel. Notice your energy, your digestion, your mood. Because when your body starts receiving the nutrients it's been missing, it tells you, in strength, in clarity, in calm. And if you find value in this journey, share it. Tell someone else that small changes matter. Leave a comment about which fish surprised you most and which one you'll try next. Because awareness is the first step, but consistency is what changes lives. Age doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean mastery. If you feed your body wisely, listen to what it tells you, and give it the fuel to keep building the strongest version of you. So as you close this video, remember this simple truth. You can't stop time, but you can slow its impact. One smart, delicious, and intentional choice at a time.